You know, when you look past the daily headlines of strikes and counterstrikes, there's a revolution going on, a massive shift that's flipping the entire economic model of modern warfare completely on its head. So let's break down what's really happening.
Okay, this right here, this is what it's all about. On one side, you've got a $35,000 drone, probably built with off-the-shelf parts. And on the other, the $4 million interceptor missile designed to shoot it down. I mean, that economic gap is just insane, and it's changing absolutely everything.
This really is the new math of war. Think about it. For every single expensive interceptor a defender can afford, the attacker can launch 100 cheap drones. This simple, brutal math is rewriting the rules. But to really get how big of a deal this is, we've got to look back at the old way of doing things.
For decades, military power was defined by a totally different playbook. One built on technology that was, magnificent, but also unbelievably expensive and slow to build.
People call this the era of the exquisite system. We're talking about a small number of stealth bombers or super advanced fighter jets. These things were absolute marvels of engineering, sure, but they cost billions and took years, sometimes decades, to build. Losing even one of them was a catastrophic blow. The whole strategy was to have a few nearly perfect platforms. But that era, yeah, it's pretty much over.
And that brings us to the new rules, a new era that some experts are calling precise mass. And it's a complete 180 from the old way of thinking.
So a guy named Michael Horowitz came up with this term. The whole idea behind precise mass is that victory doesn't come from having the single best, most expensive jet anymore. Instead, it comes from deploying huge numbers of good enough systems that are cheap, easy to make, and all network together. It's about overwhelming your opponent. It's a world where quantity has a quality all its own.
And look, this isn't just about drones. We're talking about a whole new military architecture. It's this web of cheap autonomous systems, AI helping with targeting, regular old commercial satellite images, and communications that just won't quit, all working together as one integrated machine. So what's the goal of building this whole new system? Speed. That's it. The entire game is to compress time. It's about finding a target, making a decision, and hitting it so fast that the other side has zero time to react, no time to hide, no time to recover. The side that can cycle through that loop the fastest wins.
And just how much faster are we talking about? Well, in one Air Force experiment, systems powered by AI came up with 30 times more strategic options than the human-only teams. And they did it in just a few seconds. That's the kind of crazy leap in speed we're seeing here.
And if you want to see where all this theory gets real, well, look no further than Ukraine. That conflict has become a live-fire laboratory for this new age of war. All these ideas are being tested and proven right now, often just out of pure necessity.
Just take a look at how Ukraine has been forced to adapt. They developed their own interceptor drone called the Stinger for about $2,000 a pop. That's nothing compared to a traditional missile.
And it's not like they're just building a few of them. Right now, they're cranking out more than 10,000 of these things every single month. That is wartime innovation on a scale and at a speed that's just breathtaking.
And it's not just the tech, it's the people too. You can take an experienced drone pilot and train them on these new interceptors in just 3 or 4 days. The whole system, from the factory floor to the front line, is just built for speed.
Now, let's flip the coin for a second and look at the other side of the equation. Russia is reportedly trying to get to a point where they can produce 1,000 of their Shahed-type drones every single day. That's the kind of scale we're up against. So you have that number in your head? 1,000 a day? Now, by contrast, the US is trying to ramp up production of its top-of-the-line Patriot interceptors to 2,000 a year. Just think about that. The math doesn't work. The challenge isn't just about having better tech anymore, it's about industrial scale.
So this whole revolution has huge implications that go way beyond traditional armies on a battlefield. Because these tools are cheap and they're based on commercial tech you can buy online, what we're seeing is a pretty dangerous democratization of advanced combat.
Which raises a really disturbing question. Who gets to wage war now? It's not just for organized armies anymore. With these cheap, easy-to-use, and incredibly deadly weapons, terror groups, drug cartels, even criminal gangs can pull off sophisticated attacks that used to be possible only for powerful countries.
And that leads us to the final piece of this puzzle, and maybe the most consequential one of all. It's about where this is all going. We're heading toward an algorithmic future where the most important resource isn't what you think it is.
See, in Ukraine,
They've actually opened up access to their battlefield data so that allied AI developers can use it for training to get better at spotting patterns and finding targets. This suggests that the most valuable thing coming out of a modern war might not be the destroyed tanks or the territory you capture, it might be something else entirely.
It might be the data itself. We're talking millions of annotated images from tens of thousands of combat flights. It's creating a data set that is completely unmatched anywhere else in the world. And as that data is fed to algorithms that are making more and more life and death decisions, it leaves us with a really tough question for the future. Who or what is truly in command?